All right, the race for the White House in 2020, President Trump launching a campaign blitz in battleground states, including a stop in Wisconsin today. This as the DNC is kicking off its first ever virtual convention tonight in Milwaukee. Both campaigns battling for the Gen Z vote. Joining me now, Trump 2020 presidential campaign national press secretary and former White House deputy press secretary Hogan Gidley. Great to see you this morning. Good morning.
Thanks so much for having me on. I do appreciate it.
Let's just jump into it with your thoughts on what we're going to see tonight. You know, you've got Joe Biden still staying in Delaware. You've got the president going to Wisconsin himself to make a visit in the flesh. And we've got a virtual convention kicking off here. How do you think this is going to play? The challenges might be there. And also, what's crucial in the messaging over the next 3 days?
Well, it's so interesting because the president is going across this country to deliver his message directly to the American people. And what's so great about that is that the Democrats hate it because when he's able to do that without the filter of the mainstream media, it resonates. The forgotten men and women of this country realize they have been forgotten no more. Remember, this president built the greatest economy this country has ever seen. He's in the middle of doing it again. And so he's going to hit the road and go to Wisconsin, go to Minnesota, go to Pennsylvania, go to Arizona to remind people just where we were during the economic hardships of the Biden administration when jobs were fleeing this country and 60,000 manufacturing plants closed. Not to mention the fact that 850,000 jobs left because of Joe Biden's position on NAFTA alone. The president came in and remade all of those trade deals to actually protect the American worker. The middle class was not getting kicked in the teeth anymore. They were successful under Donald Trump, and he's going to remind the American people just how successful they were and just how high we can get with his leadership for another 4 more years.
Jonathan, jump in.
Well, the president is wise to go to swing states, especially like Wisconsin. About 4 years ago to this day, he was probably around the same state. If a system isn't broken, I say don't fix it. It worked for him in 2016. If you look at only the polling data and you say, well, Biden's up, you may have a deja vu moment, very much like 2016, and you wake up and Trump becomes president once again. So I think it's wrong to just focus on the polls. If you look at what he did strategically by connecting with voters when it comes to the economy and middle-class voters, blue-collar workers like in Wisconsin, Ohio, you're going to see the president come out on top.
Lee?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I'm really focused on right now is back in 2016, the president spent most of his time talking about making America great again and the 5 things that he was going to do for this country. Now it's a very different race, right? And I think that the question is, and polls are, you know, are up and down and showing different things, but we're seeing right now that people are very concerned about the economy, where the president does very well. They're also concerned about their physical safety. So he's doing very well on policing issues, but not as well on the handling of COVID, which is something that's really, really important to the American people. How do you think he gets his message out right now about how he's going to handle COVID differently and get us back on track?
Hogan?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, you just hit the nail on the head. It's not about the polls, it's about the people. As it relates to coronavirus, you don't have to guess what a pandemic would look like under Joe Biden, because we saw several in the Joe Biden administration. He just decided to stop testing. With 60 million Americans infected, his advice was we don't want to, quote unquote, waste the resources. We know it's here. Let's just stop testing. Could you imagine if Donald Trump did that? But let's be clear. When this president took aggressive early action to stop the spread of this virus coming in from China and from Europe by stopping flights, he got ridiculed for it. He did it anyway, and then the left had to come out and admit it probably saved lives. Dr. Hahn, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, and others have all said his moves saved lives. And who could forget, we talked about coronavirus in the State of the Union speech. Nancy Pelosi tore it to shreds before she went to San Francisco without a mask, mind you, and told everyone to come out. It would all be fine. This president was the only one taking this seriously. It took some time after he talked about wearing masks on March 31st. The CDC and the president released the guidelines on April 3rd. A month and 5 days later was the first time all of the press corps decided to wear a mask inside the briefing room. But they would have you believe that they were ringing in the new year with N95 masks and champagne. That's not the way it was. It was this president taking the early aggressive action. Everyone else ignored it. And then as it has moved along, we have done everything to rebuild the stockpile, billions of pieces of equipment inside of a stockpile that was left largely bare by the previous administration. Ventilators are now so prevalent in this country, thanks to the president's use of the DPA, that we are lending them to other countries as well who are suffering. So this has been a very successful rebuild of the stockpile. The issue is every single life that has been lost is an absolute tragedy. It is so devastating to think what China did to this country, an unforeseen, unprecedented virus sent here. And we had to do everything we could to stop it. We're still in the middle of it. We still have to get out of it. But with this president's leadership, we can. This rewriting of history and this nonsensical thought that someone like Governor Cuomo, for example, speaking tonight at the Democrat convention, is the gold standard. Most of the deaths were in his state because he sent people with coronavirus back into nursing homes when we knew the elderly population were the most affected by this virus. So that type of stuff has to get out there, and that's why the president's taking his message on the road this week.
And you're bringing up a great point. I want to shift gears to a second because there's a new CNN national poll that's out showing Joe Biden holding a 4-point lead over President Trump, falling within the polls, basically the margin of error there.
Right.
Then there's the poll from the Wall Street Journal and NBC News showing that the former vice president holds a 9-point lead over the president. You know, we've discussed these polls many times. As we get closer to the election, they even get narrower, but it's closer than many people will have you believe.
Yeah, look, again, I don't put a lot of stock in these polls. They were wrong in 2016. I don't know that I believe them now. Also, I expect at least an 8 to possibly 10-point jump for Joe Biden after this election, after this convention, rather, I should say, and not because of anything he's going to say or do, or any of the other speakers for that matter. It's because the media is just fawning all over this ticket like I've never seen before. They've not taken questions since they actually were announced as the ticket with Kamala Harris. Tonight, you have the second most radical, most liberal member of the United States Senate, Bernie Sanders, giving the final speech. The first most liberal, most radical is Kamala Harris, who gives hers in a few days. So the radical takeover of this party has been pretty clear. They are moving so far left now, and they want to remake America, of course, in the idea of socialism. And I don't know if you're going to hear their pledges to raise taxes by $4 trillion or flood the job market with amnesty for tens of millions of illegal aliens during this convention. But it's our job to make sure the American people know that's exactly what they want to do. They've promised to do it. And so as these polls shift and they go up and down, again, most of them are phony, most of them are fake, we're focused on actually delivering the message and reminding everyone just how horrible this economy was under Joe Biden, how horrible the foreign policy was under Joe Biden, and how great it has been under this president, and how great it will be moving forward.
Last question, and I want to get your take on this real quick, because House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling all the lawmakers back to Washington to address the U.S. Postal Service cuts ahead of that November election. So that's including removing mailboxes, sorting machines around the country as well.
Sure.
White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows signaling yesterday that the president actually would be willing to sign a bill supporting the USPS as long as stimulus and PPP funding are included as well. That sounds like a reasonable request.
Absolutely. The president put $10 billion in this package, said it would even go up to $25 billion as well. But two different things. One is about universal mail-in voting, which is rife with the potential for fraud, abuse, and cheating. The Democrats know that. That's why they're pushing for it in 10 states. But look, I was in the White House when Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer shut down the government over illegal aliens getting into this country without any penalty whatsoever, putting the priorities of those here illegally and unlawfully over American citizens. I was also there when she stopped the first stimulus package to the American people who needed the paychecks because she wanted to tack on Green New Deal stuff. So first, she's playing politics with people's lives. Then she played politics with people's livelihoods. And now she's playing politics with people's votes. She won't come back to this city to try and make sure the American people who suffered so greatly under coronavirus can get their money. But she'll come back for the post office?
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Hogan Gidley, great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.